Okay, let's let people in. Ah, you're there. Hello, people. We're going to get going in exactly 1 second. Lovely to see you all and your names and your faces. Lovely to see you again. Hi, Gillian. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Charlotte. Lovely to see you here. We're going to get going very shortly. Hi, Catherine. Lovely to see you. By the way, it's okay if you guys want to be off camera. I'm going to be doing a lot of talking. If you have questions, I'll stop for questions, and at the end, I'll resurface. But of course, if you're like, "Hey, I don't want to be on camera," but it's nice because I can see your smiley faces, and it helps. It helps my energy. If you want to be on it, we were using the actual webinar software, and we had so many glitches that I just reverted back to just using Zoom because the webinar just kept glitching and people couldn't get in and couldn't do this and couldn't. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to use Zoom and treat it like webinar. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to get started. I'll bring the slides up. It's lovely to see your faces again, and well done for showing up. We've had over 20 registrations and you're the ones here. So thumbs up to you already. Let me just bring up the slides and just if you want to take a second just to write where you're from, what your challenge is, etc. And while we're doing that, because then I can have a look at it, what industry you're in, that also helps and well, and I'll come back to that in a minute. So we've done that. So as I start this webinar and people can start to join us as well, I just want to remind everybody, and I kind of say this pretty much every time I speak, that this is one of the most important times, I think, I mean, I dare say in history, but this is one of the most important times to really stand out there and really put yourself out there as a speaker that's marketing, because right now, because of the uncertainty, we need people with voice of reason, voice of guidance. We need people to really look after the communities, the various communities, the business communities, the entrepreneurial community, whatever community is for you. It's really important that as leaders, speakers, influencers, people of influence, experts, that we are doing that right now. And we're coming to the end of January. New Year's Eve feels like 6 weeks ago. I feel like everybody's hit the ground like gas down, full pelt this year. I don't know about you if you're feeling the same, but it just feels like everybody's gone like 100 miles an hour. And it's really important that right now, when we are out there, we are having the impact. Hello, Bob. Lovely to see you. And that you are really there despite the uncertainty, because I know the temptations to pull back, to withdraw, and now is where we, people that are choosing to speaking for marketing or speaking to influence or speaking to position, we've really got to stand out and we've really got to make the effort, because people really need us. Okay, not in a desperate I need you kind of way, like please don't leave me kind of way, but just our wisdom, our voice. And sometimes we might put out something out there as a speaker and it doesn't quite get the response at the time we want, but that's okay. That's all part of the journey, right? So what I want to do with this webinar is I want to really show you all something that happened to one of my clients towards the end of last year. And what I did is I reversed engineered what we did with her and we turned it into webinar. And if it helps you to therefore have more impact, increase your earnings and your monetization as well as the influence, then great. And if you want to do that with us, even better, right? So we work with a variety of entrepreneurs, business owners. These are all the different industries we work with, because it's about our methodology. It's not about the industry. And when, I know, and we are kind of niched in many ways because we work with experts that speak, right? But they all have common problems, and see which one you can identify with here, right? They all have very, very similar problems, regardless. Is the need to adapt and be current. It's the struggle to get booked and get paid, or getting sales when they do speak, struggling with the online noise and the offline noise these days, low speaking impact as well. They speak and you get a nice round of applause. Well done. That was great. And a pat on the back and nothing else. Anyone been there? Give me a kind of thumbs up if you know what I mean. You kind of do, they go, well done. Oh, so good, Catherine. You were awesome. Give me a hug. And then they go away. I'm like, no, wait. I want you to find out. No, okay. I'm not saying that actually happens to Catherine. I'm just, because I can see her, people. Okay. I just want to be clear about that. So yes, that's the other thing. Or you have, you get those very few conversions for those you speak to sell or speak to market to promote a product or a service. And that's what happened to Maria, and I'll talk about Maria shortly. Not enough places to practice, unclear brand message, which means you attract energy vampires, you attract the wrong bookings or the wrong clients. Anyone relate to that? You're like, what? Why am I attracting you? It's an unclear brand message. Fluffy pitch, right? People don't understand exactly what you want to promote, what you want to sell. And of course, forgetting where are the people that just want to serve. I just want to serve and support. And then you forget to pitch. Anyone been there? Anyone know what I'm talking about? Yeah, no, yeah. I just want to be of service. Yes, be of service, but also make sure that you inject the pitch into there. And we'll talk about that today as well. Right. So a little bit about me. For those of you who do or don't know me, I've been doing this for over a decade. I am the co-founder of Speaker Express. I also have co-founded the Speaker Awards, which are happening again this year in July, and I'm super excited about that. And I run the UK. The reason I talk about the UK, because originally we were going to scale globally and I raised investment for it. And I bet you can't guess what happens next. The pandemic. There we go. That's what happened next. So that was on hold. But since then, again, I'm now looking to do that again. I write for magazines. I've spoken stage globally. I've written 6 books now, probably going to write my 7th this year. Happy to say that one of them was shortlisted for the Business Book Awards. Woohoo! I mentor at the Princess Trust, and I do have a current podcast called the Public Speaking Expert Podcast. And I'm an accredited virtual speaker, which means absolutely nothing. It means I spend $80 to be told I can speak online. Yay, money well spent. So last year we won a bunch of awards, recognized for various things. But the two that matter the most to me are the 2 bottom ones. When I was accredited to be a top 5% content creator for Riverside, which is the podcasting platform we use, and the other one is to be a shortlisted finalist for the Business Book Awards. And I guess that's a little bit of a personal victory because I'm dyslexic, so writing is not natural for me. And so to be, even shortlisted at all for such a prestigious award meant a lot to me. And actually, I'm happy to say that this year I've been invited to be a judge. Yay! Considering I can't really read. Woohoo! So that's a real kind of achievement in my mind. And I'm so honored they asked me. So there we go. So work with a variety of industries. You've got top left tech entrepreneur. We've helped people on like MasterChef professionals. That's Philly. We've got influence in there, a variety of industries because it's about the methodology. So this is why I put this webinar together. I work with Maria, and Maria came to me, she said, Elliot, I've done loads of talks, and I'm getting nothing. Now, she does speak to promote a service, right? So just to be clear, this wasn't keynote. This was her getting, in front of head teachers. And if you, some of you know head teachers, and actually some of my other clients are former head teachers, you will know they're under a lot of stress. They work really hard and they're highly skeptical people. Is anyone here a former head teacher? There you go. So can you relate to what I'm saying, Catherine?
Yeah.
Right. Incredible work. Very, very overstressed. So yeah. Maria got in front of them and she sells an incredible stress relief service. So she was going up in front of them and she wasn't getting any clients, any bookings, any sales whatsoever. What I did with her, I'm going to show over this webinar, and it really transformed her whole presentation. So much so, which it blew me away, by the way, when she contacted me, because we only did one session when I came into the second one, and she said, Elliot, you're not going to believe this. I'm like, what? She goes, I did the talk and we hadn't even finished it, and I made 20K in revenue. So that's her testimonial in her words. I haven't touched it. You have her name. You can follow up with her. Go, is that true? Is this true? Yes, it's true. Right. So I was like, okay, let's reverse engineer everything we did with Maria, because this is, in my case, at times an exceptional result. I mean, I use the same structure, the same stuff I'm going to teach you last year, and I pulled in 15K after the conference in London. She beat me. She pointed, I mean, it's not competition. I was like, she did 20K. So what did we do? Let me take you through this. So what we revisited is her structure, and I'm going to come to that. Someone else that came to me was Ed Chamberlain. Some of you might know his sister, Lucy, and he was launching a new platform, and he's a salesman. So he knows how to sell. He runs 4 companies. He's raised investment before, but it wasn't landing. People weren't getting his new concept. So again, I did with him what I'm going to show with you next. We changed things. We tweaked things in a way that when he spoke about his product, number one, it didn't sound like a data machine. Does anyone know those speakers that just sound like they're churning out data, no personality? And I was like, Ed, you're really you're very charismatic. Why are you coming across like this? He's like, what do you mean? This is how I always sell. I'm like, well, it's not working, is it? So we tweaked it, we changed it, and that's what I'm going to show you next. And again, he went on a fundraising round, and he was going to raise $250,000, and they raised 450,000, as you can see. And also he then got people on his platform, increased his sales. So I just want to show you what we did, right? And the first question I looked at, both for Maria and Ed. Now, a lot of you looking at that question going, of course my content's relevant. True. Same for Ed, same for Maria. But how relevant was the content for the audience to receive, right? So if you take Maria, she's talking to head teachers, and she's, of course, she understands it and she was talking about it, but she wasn't talking about it in the relevancy to their context, to their day-to-day life, to them being a teacher. She's going, look, as a teacher, you need to deal with your stress. You need to do this, right? But of course they do. But it was about changing the language so it lands and it's relevant to them, right? Same with Ed. Stop talking like a data machine. Stop conveying information and start to use the content to influence decision-making, right? And that was a key shift for both Maria. Well, they're all key shifts, but those are one of the key things. And like, Maria, I can tell you know what you're talking about, but the way you're communicating to the audience doesn't land in the same way because you're not talking the right language. You're not doing it. You're not using examples in a way that's relevant to them, right? So it was a complete shift. And then I go, but that's so obvious. But those are the little subtle things that change people's presentations, because you can all talk about your expertise from your understanding. The key to increasing sales, right, to increasing influence, which is what we're talking about here, and to really have a structure that is effective, is to make sure the audience gets it. And that's where a lot of speakers get this wrong, because they'll just talk from their model of the world and think we'll get it, but we don't. And even though time and time again, you might get booked again, it's not landing. So we really looked at deeper into the audience, right? This was key. We looked at what are the problems, again, from their perspective, from their model of the world, from their experience right now. So that might mean that you have to do some research. You might have to ask some people, right? Because again, if I look at Ed or I look at Maria, which this whole webinar is based around, she thought she had a grasp of the problems. It wasn't until she really asked them, well, what are your problems, that she really understood, and then able to articulate it back to them in a way that she was bringing a solution. A lot of people guess that, or they think we know our audience's problem. Ask, get 5 to 10 people. What are the key problems you're facing right now? This is a great one. What keeps you up at night, right? Now, Maria's story was inspired by her brother. So she based a lot of her knowledge on her brother, which is one part of what she was able to communicate, but she didn't understand the whole problem. Basically, her brother was a head teacher and he retired really, really early. He left it due to a heart condition caused by the stress of the job. And she was like, I don't want anyone else to go through that, because she saw her brother almost die from it. She's like, that can't be, there's got to be something, which is why she pioneered this whole stress process. By the way, she teamed up with a doctor and it's all very scientifically backed, right? But again, that was her brother's experience. She needed to understand more the greater experience of her audience to be able to communicate it in a way they're likely to buy. And this is a great question. Ask your audience, ask people, what keeps you up at night, right? Not just in regarding to their job or their profession or their community or their business, other things, because, you know, one thing triggers another. So while for some people right now, money might be what's keeping them up at night, it's the consequence of not having it. That's what we want to hear about, right? Because the consequence of not having it enables you, when you do your talks, to communicate to them that you understand them, and therefore they're more likely to know, like, and trust you. Is this making sense? Are you with me, people? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah, give me a virtual thumb up. Are you with me? Hey, David. Hey, everybody. Just want to know you're with me. Cool. I can see you with me. So this is key. What keeps them up at night? And are you able, this comes from testing, to articulate the key problems back to them in a way that they grasp it? Again, Maria changed. We tweaked that. We did some deep research and we were able to really explain back to people how they are with their problems. An example of this is a great example because Juan, some of you heard me talk about Juan in some of the other webinars, and some of you popped up at some of the other ones. Juan, ex-military, right? So he used to command troops of 4,000 people. He's a great guy. Really, it's funny because when you meet him, you don't know this. He's very soft now. Now he's soft. But, you know, he's one of the guys that, you know, without knowing, he kind of broke your neck and gone, oh, sorry about that. You know, he's one of those, he can do that. And you're like, ah, what have you done to me? So when he came to us, he was moving into speaking, and he would speak like he commands troops, as you can imagine. And what we did with him, I was like, who are you talking to? What are their problems? What is it you want to convey? I'm like, and when he explained that he really wanted to share his story, coming, you know, he had a rough childhood, going to knife gangs, which took him to the army, all this stuff, I was like, there's no way you can stand there like a soldier and talk that way unless you're speaking to soldiers, because he'd be like, arms behind his back. When I was young, I did this and this and this, and I was attacked. And then I was like, Juan, we need to soften you. You're not we can't relate to you unless I'm a soldier. So we changed his articulation of the problem. We really understood what is keeping people up at night, things like that. And that's when he was able to then take that to corporates and take that to various events. And he would get booked because suddenly people were experiencing his experience, but it was articulated in a way everybody can relate to, right? And that was his journey. And that's when he got the job as Steel Warriors community project manager, because of his story, because they saw him speak. And basically that's when they take knives off the street and melt them and build gyms. That is his thing, because that was his background. But until we changed how he positioned, until we changed the language, and he understood more of other people's problems around that space, then that's when he had the impact he wanted. Okay. So, you know, what's really important is we do stop doing what isn't working, right? It tends to be the talks that we like giving, but they're not necessarily the talks that are working when we're giving them. So we're like, oh, I really like telling this story, or I really like this piece of content. And unless that story or that piece of content is moving you, the audience, forwards towards a decision to buy into you, don't use it, right? You might like it. It might be funny. It might be deeply moving. But unless it's helping the audience move along with you and make a decision, don't do it. And that's the other thing we did, is we just stripped out what wasn't working, because you had all these other things which were good, even at times great, but it wasn't relevant, right? So you might need to be really brutal with yourself and go, okay, I really like telling this thing, but is it having the impact I want? Oh, I really like telling this story, right? But is it having the impact I want? And again, when I work with people in their storytelling, it's all about the relevancy to the audience. Oh, I can tell this part of my story and I can tell this part of my story. I'm like, is this moving the audience forwards towards a buying decision or doing something with you? So keep that in mind. Now, I'm not saying you turn your whole presentation to a sleazy sales pitch. That is not what I'm meaning at all. But what I'm saying is, if it's not impacting the audience and it's not moving them forwards, that's when their mind wanders. That's when they're going, oh, what could I write on LinkedIn? Oh, what could I tweet? Oh, what's happening on TikTok right now? Because you're taking them to something that's not relevant to their experience. Is this making sense? Yeah, good. Lots of nodding heads there. I can see lots of thinking faces. I like that, right? So that's what I mean. We reviewed each part of her talk, right? Each part of the talk with a structure that we showed her, and we made sure that it just keeps moving people forwards, right? In an authentic way to her. I want to be very clear about that. I am not about turning people into robots or turning people in the way that's authentic to her. We move people forwards. And that's what, again, we really stripped out a lot of the stuff that wasn't working, that sounded good, but wasn't working, right? So again, John is someone we work with, and John is a creative agency. They specialize in catching your eye when you go into supermarkets. So, you know, you look along the shelves and you see all these things and oh, that catches your eye. That's their expertise. And again, for them, it was very much, oh, Elliot, we're doing talks, but we're not really getting the impact. We're not getting things. We reviewed each, and they're creatives. So anyone creative here? I'm very creative. Anyone? Yeah. So you will know creatives are very hard to pin down to a process. And there's two of them like, oh, but Elliot, we've always done it this way. And I'm like, look, can we just follow the process? Can we follow the structure here? Yeah, but we can do this. I'm like, stop being creative for 1 second and follow my process. And they did. And they did. I had to put my foot down with them because they're great. They're so talented, but they weren't communicating it in a way that was enrolling people to want to do stuff with them. So again, we just stripped out, look, this isn't relevant to your audience. Yeah, but it's important to the yeah, but when you sit them down, you can explain that part, but it's not good for the talk. Stripped it back, stripped it back, stripped it back. We got them to a whole new way of positioning their whole like process and how they explain it, and the results you can see there in bold. They got loads of one-to-ones, and keep in mind for them, a project is anything between 25K to upwards. Their investment was more than made, right? So for them, again, it's just about, you've got it all here, and all of you do. You have it all here. We probably might need to strip out some of the stuff that doesn't work. And that's what I want you to think about. Is every stage really working, right? So these are some of the things as well that doesn't work. And I want you to think about, some people use data, but the wrong data, or they don't use any data, stats, facts, things like that. No articulation of the problem, or the assumption, I'm just going to understand what you mean. Yeah, that's what I mean. You deliver a talk that's maybe an entertaining talk, but it's not going to move them to make a decision as well. It could be even, that's what I mean. Like, a lot of us do the same talk, right? We all have our kind of signature talk, which is something I work with people on. And what's important is it remains relevant to the audience. Excuse me, they remains relevant. And a lot of people just do the talk again and again and again that they did 6 months or a year ago, and it's lost its relevancy because the world has moved on. It's not targeted enough. It's too general. It's too vanilla. It's not enough of a giraffe. You're not standing enough out with your content. You sound like everyone else, or a lot of people in that space. And that's important. The other one, I did some training with Bernardo's on Wednesday on this, and it's so interesting because it completely shifted their mind from, oh, I'm just used to standing there to conveying information, to, oh, I really need to influence the audience, right? And if we're giving out too much information, we're just churning out what everyone can read, right? It's got to be material that influences the audience to move, whatever that move is, move forwards, move with you, buy from you. But if we're just churning out information, I can watch it on YouTube. I can watch it on TikTok. I mean, I've deleted my TikTok account now, but you get my point, right? There's plenty of places for me to find information. What I really want is implementation, right? Lack of focus. Here's where a lot, again, something that doesn't work very well. A lot of speakers, they mix the what with the how, right? What you really want to do is separate your talks out. You have a talk that explains what people need to know, and therefore they're likely to buy from you, buy into you. The other one is a talk that talks about how you fix a problem. And that's a different talk. If I invited Bob out, I said, listen, Bob, you and me, we're going to meet up. We're going to go to a great restaurant, best restaurant in town. But on the way, I'm going to stop. I'm going to have a buffet. Is that okay with you? And then we go to the buffet and we eat the buffet. Then we're really full. We're not going to go to the other restaurant, are we? It's like, oh, Bob, that buffet just filled me up, right? If you mix up the what and the how, and there's too much information, people are too full up, then they're not going to buy from you. They're not going to buy in. They're just, oh, yeah, let me go home. How many of you heard this? Give me a Y in the chat if you've heard this. Oh, I just need to go home and think about everything you've said. Right? So there's one thing going, I need to make a buying decision. Yes, I want to work with you, or I want to sign up with you, or anything like that. There's another thing going, oh, I just need to process everything. And that means it's overload. Focus and targeted is better than overload and puffed out. Say, separate. Have a talk that explains what people need to know and therefore work with you. And the other one is how people fix it. Separate them out. And of course, you're adding value, by the way. Each stage, you're always adding value, and there's ways to do that. Okay. And again, I talked about being too general, too vanilla. Let's not do that. It doesn't work. You need to really get focused. You need to really own your lane. And you need to make sure that everything you're doing is moving the audience with you. Otherwise, it's going to take them out. Okay. And these are all very subtle things, by the way. These aren't big things, but these are things that make the difference. These are things that got Maria 20K in sales, right? Because we did all these bits. Okay. So I just want to quickly, if I may, just talk very quickly for those of you who want to how you could carry on with me. Is that okay if I do that? I have some thumbs up, and I'm going to check some chats in a minute as well. Oh, lots of Y's in there. Hey, there we go. Lots of Y's. I like that. And I'll have a look. Oh, cool. Lots of people from here. Excellent. So just very quickly, what we have devised because of all of this is what we call the efficiency speaking and selling program. And really what this is we would work with you. I would work with you one-to-one, and I'd rework your talk to make sure it lands in the way that I'm talking about. We then talk about how to market your talk. So I'll do a one-to-one session with you on how to get booked, how to use LinkedIn for bookings. And then we look to get you booked, right? The aim is to get booked so you can deliver the talk and you can win business. And then you have continuous support throughout. We have things like every 2 weeks, a drop-in session where I'm on Zoom and you ask me all the questions you need to ask to keep moving forwards. And that's the essence of the program, right? So it is for people that have content, but if you're just starting out, I could work with you as well, because there's people in the program already that they're starting out, we're building their content. If you are confident, right? This isn't a confidence program. It's something for people that kind of look, I'm ready to go. I just need to put this together. If you want to be an authority, and of course, if you want really people to sign up for a call or consultation, there's something to sell at the end of this. This isn't a keynote program, just to be clear. If you want me to work on your keynote, it's a different conversation. Right? So we want to work on a structure that works and converts. We want to help you get booked. And the thing is, as well, as I'm willing to put my skin in the game as well and explain how it works in a second. Right? But that's the essence of it. So step one, you and me meet one-to-one. I do a signature talk training with you where we build a talk like I've talked about Maria's. And then we have another session one-to-one after that, not straight away, of course, is we talk about how to use LinkedIn to identify where to speak and everything like that as well. And then we help you get booked to deliver that talk so you can promote and you can have income and generate income for you to, of course, sell your services, your courses, whatever that might be as well, right? So if you got something to say, a product to sell, if you want more sales, if you want more bookings, right? If you want to be the expert in your space, this is us. This is how we want to work. And of course, if you want to be impactful in your industry, we want to work with you as well, right? You also get all kind of access. There's a G drive that you get access to, which is full of templates you can use and videos you can watch for you to truly be able to continue the momentum beyond our sessions, of course, because it's all about momentum. We've also got scripts in there you can use. So everything you need to get yourself out there, get booked, and actually monetize your speaking, we will provide to you, right? So the way it works is this. I'll explain again. We do a one-to-one with you, signature talk. So you have a talk ready to go. I also show you how to get booked. And then you have every 2 weeks a call with me over Zoom to keep momentum. So the way it works like this. You pay £500 all in, VAT all in, and then nothing for 90 days, which means that I'm going to give you all this up front. And then you're going to go out, get booked, hopefully do the talk. And then if you do the talk and make the money, you pay me the rest, right? Otherwise, it's 2 more cycles of 90 days and £500. So you pay, and there's going to be a Google Doc where you can read all this as well. So you can have a good read. And if you want to sign up, so you pay £500 to get going, right? And that will get you straight away with me. And then we'll help you get booked. And if you make the money before the 90 days, then you pay me the rest, which is another £1,000. If you don't, there's 2 more cycles of 90 days. So it'll be 500 today, for example, and then 90 days, another 500, and then 90 days, another 500. Because I'm willing to put my skin in the game and go, hey, I want to support you. I'm going to show you how to do it. And then if, the reason we put the 500 every 90 days is so there's some form of accountability, because you might sit back and do nothing for 90 days. It's like, hey, I've given you all this up front, right? So that's it. So if you want to do that, there's, I think in the chat right now, there is there's going to be a link that's gone in there right now. Click on it, have a link, have a read. And if you're not, if you're unsure, you've got questions, which I'm sure a lot of you do, book a call in with me. Let's talk if it's right for you. Okay. There's a link if you're ready to go. Otherwise, let's have a conversation. I'm happy to answer any questions you have, and we can go from there. Okay. So the link's going to be there. We'll put it in a few more times. For those of you phone savvy and want to scan a code, yeah, right, then there's going to be a barcode coming up shortly. And again, someone we did this with, Sarah, she's in the property space. We really helped hone her message, really, so it lands on potential investors, which we attract. And it's that continuous support that she really loved as well. I mean, her business now has exploded. She hasn't worked with us for a couple of years, but a couple of years when she came to us, we really tweaked everything so it landed, and she was able then to truly attract investors, grow. She's got Tedx now. She's a paid speaker. And that's through a lot of what you would learn when we work with you. So £500 today, nothing for 90 days, and then nothing for 90 days, right? So I'm putting my skin in the game as well. You can scan the QR code or you can grab the link from the chat. It'll be there again later on. So we'll go from there, and I'm happy to stay back, time permitting, if you have any questions as well, because we're doing good time. How are we doing, people? We good? Yes, still smiling. Lots of people thinking, lots of light bulbs going off. That's what I like to see. Hey, hi, Helen. Ah, you're there. Hello, Sarah, Jesse, David. Lovely to see you all as always, Charlotte. Right, let's carry on from there. So the other big thing we did with Maria, and I've alluded to this already, but I think a lot of people underestimate this. They do one or two things. They skip over, or they kind of narrate a story. You know, oh, when I did this, and then this happened, and da-da-da-da, right? And they kind of narrate a story. Oh, and then I went here, and then I did this, and then this happened, and then I failed, and then I stood up again, and I failed again. And it's a narrated experience, which is very disconnected for the audience. The other thing people do with stories, right, is they overinflate, or they use details that aren't really relevant, right? So the story is a vehicle. Of course, it's an emotive vehicle for a lot of people. Even if you're talking about the growth of your business, even if you're talking about, you know, conceptual thing and how you arrived there, story is still an emotive experience for most of us. And we immediately put ourselves in people's shoes when it comes to listening to the story. Immediately we go in the story. So with Maria, what we did is we only took the bits that are really relevant to the audience. Again, with Ed was the same, and anybody I tend to work with on this program or one-to-one, we look at the relevancy of the bits of their stories to the audience. Again, not the stuff we like to tell or is really nice, or, you know, and I know it's very challenging for people that are talking about their personal story, because there's so much you could share. For example, I'm working with a woman recently that she was going to be put in a mental health institution. She ran away because she wasn't willing to do that. And she beat the issue she had by herself through meditation and yoga. Very inspiring woman. And she calculated over a period of when she had these challenges, she was given over 10,000 pills, right? And she beat that. She beat the system. So you can imagine getting the bits that are relevant from her story was an interesting journey, because there's so much we could tell, but it's just what's relevant to her audience and what is at the end of it. And the end of it is her wanting to promote her meditation retreats, right? So we had to go, what is relevant to the audience? And that's the same. So a lot of people go overinflate stories, right? Or they narrate stories. So it's really about giving the listener, the viewer, the experience of your storytelling. So again, with Maria, she talked about her brother, but we took a bit of her brother's experience that the teachers could relate to. We talked about the daily grind. We talked about the increasing pressure. We talked about the lack of breakdown of communication and everything that came up from the research. And we integrated that into the story. Then the teachers massively related to that. She gets me. She really understands my, you know, the best thing you can have is someone go, are you living in my house? Have you been spying on me? Like, that's one of the best, in a good way, of course, not in a, hey, you, I saw you outside my house. That's not what I mean here, right? So if you can get that, you've really nailed it. And again, with the story, right? That is one of the most powerful tools you have to really enroll an audience into buying what you're doing, into buying into you, into building that trust, right? Use the relevance parts of it. All right. And I don't mean I don't mean use the story to elicit sympathy, because that's the worst thing you can do. One guy we interviewed on the podcast, really interesting guy. He was going to be an American footballer. He got injured. It didn't happen. And then he's massively depressed and he was suicidal. And then what happened was his mum called him and saved him. And then he started his career as a speaker, and he would go around telling that story. Because he was telling that story from a open wound versus a healed scar, people would come up to him and go, oh, you're okay. We can do it. You can do it. You know, oh, well done. You're so strong. He's like, no. I'm not looking for that. I'm telling you to inspire you. And I'm telling you to show you there's a way out. But he was coming across and eliciting sympathy. So again, he had to tweak the story and use the relevant bits. And then after that, it all changed. Then it changed. He became the speaker he is today, right? The other thing is we changed the content flow, right? So if you think of the structure of a signature talk, which I'll list after, it's opening, problem, right? Earn the right, solution, story, content, call to action. I'll say that again. Open, problem, earn the right, solution, story, content, call to action. Guess how Ed opened his talk? Hi, I'm Ed, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. I run 4 businesses, 4.5 million and above, most of them. Like what? Zero rapport, right? And a lot of speakers do that. You start with your name, and you used to do that, right? That's the way, because right now, it's all about what's in it for me. Can I trust you? Why should I care? Right? The moment a speaker gets on stage, that's what everyone's thinking. You're thinking that the moment the webinar started, and you're still thinking that, right? That's just what we think. So we jig the flow. So therefore, the opening captured attention. That's what you want to do. You immediately show them that you get them. You've got their problem. Then you demonstrate why you're the one standing on stage. Hi, my name's Elliot. That's the third thing. Hi, I'm Elliot K. Okay, now I'm listening to you. Now I'm wondering who you are. Then you demonstrate what the solution is and how you can support them, right? Then you've got the story to magnify that and the problem. Then you have the content that sells your solution. But you focus on what people need to know without giving away the how. All right? That's what we did in Maria. That's what we did with Ed. And that's what I've done with any single person I've worked with over the last 4 years who's gone out there with signature talk and got results. Rework the content flow in a different way. This is the way forward. This is a new paradigm. If you want to influence, it's not about going, hi, I am. It's about going, let me show you why there's value in it for you. Yeah? Everyone still with me? Yeah? Cool. Right? The other thing, of course, to do, which is what Maria did really well after this talk, is proactively have a proactive outreach. Again, I know some of you are part of the alerts, which is fantastic, right? Here's the thing. I know all of us have this utopic vision that we're going to get loads of emails and loads of phone calls booking us, right? And we should all aim for that. Definitely all aim for that, 100%. And I want you all to arrive there, by the way. I want you to be so busy that you can't handle the calendar and you've got talks spilling in. Until you get to that point, we have to be proactive with our outreach. Have to, right? Wanting, hoping, wishing that we get discovered, wishing that something will land somewhere. It's a very depressing route to go down because it will seldom match our expectations. But when we're proactively outreaching, we're opening doors, right? We're really putting ourselves out there. I still do it. I mean, some of you probably got my message on LinkedIn of my outreach for the new year. And since doing a proactive outreach, I've had 6 bookings, right? And that's me saying, hi, I'm available. Shall we talk about speaking? Because the other thing is people assume you're too busy. Oh, Catherine's too busy, right? Katerina here, she's too busy. They just assume that. Helen's too busy, unless you're doing proactive outreach, right? So, but the thing is when you're doing proactive outreach, where again, when we talk to Maria, is to build relationships and come from a place of value, not what you can get or take. What can I do for you that will help your business? What can I do for you that will support your community? And this is where a lot of people go, hi, my name is AK and I'm a world speaker. I'm a global speaker and you should book me because you know why? Because I'm awesome. And you should pay me for being awesome. Thank you. Here's my booking sheet. No. Yeah, it's all about relationships, right? So again, we help you do that through the course. as well. We help you build that. That's what the momentum calls about. That's what the templates are all about. So we help you build those relationships, right? And if you're not a part of the alert service, then by all means, you could be. We send daily emails with various opportunities across the world that you could just get yourself booked on as well. And I know some of you have joined recently. So thank you for that. We truly appreciate it as well. But that's us, helping you create that proactive outreach as well. But on this course we do, we also show you how to use LinkedIn for that. And one of the last things we did with Maria is we simplified the call to action. We made it really simple. Again, I know that, here's the thing, I don't know, am I going against? I don't mind. Here's the thing, right? I know the industry teaches you to stack, especially when you're promoting something or you're selling something. Here's my product, here's my service, here's what you get. Fantastic. Oh, and you get this, 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 and this, and this, and you can have this, this, and this, and this, and this. I'm like, that works for really big stages with lots of people. And I know that's one way of doing it. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you're promoting, a service, a consultancy, whatever that might be for you, and there's something there that you want to have a personal relationship, then having a very simple call to action, i.e., like I did here today, look, here's my course, here's you sign up, read the Google Doc, book a call, right? Boom. Make it very easy for people to buy for you. And if it's not your natural flow to stack an offer, don't stack an offer. If it's not your natural flow to reduce the price, don't reduce the price, right? Be authentically you when you're standing on stage. I know there's like, no, you should do it this way. This is what works. That's one way. I, through doing it this way, have had, filled up the last cohort for the speaking program. And I do it this way every single time. And we've done it for the last, I don't know, years. And it works better because that's who I am, right? I know my value. This is why I sell. This is why I sell it at. You want to work with me? Great. Here's how you do it. Yeah. So I just want you to keep that in mind. Whatever your style is, there's no right or wrong, but don't just stack things and complicate things for the sake of it. Remember, a confused mind doesn't buy. So if you're confusing your audience, they're not going to buy from you, no matter what job you did. Have to leave, but really useful, Elliot. Thank you so much. Thanks, Helen. Thanks for coming. Right. So we simplified the CTA, right? Make it easy. Now, again, someone that used the structure I'm talking about and everything is Shamini. Some of you might know her. She used it to promote her service outright. She did a whole presentation about it. It's about 90 minutes. And then she sold at the back of it. She, interestingly enough, did not give people a price. So they had to apply. And as a result of that, that's some of the results you can see in front of you. She sent me updates as she went along. And that's, so for her is, 16K one weekend from one talk. But that was literally, she set the whole thing up to promote her services, right? And that's what it is, right? So I just want to show another example of how it works as well. So I just want you to all to understand before we wrap this up, that you are always selling, right? And this notion that as a speaker, you're not selling or anything like that, you are always selling. And the story I tell, Gillian probably remembers it from the webinar she attended 2 weeks ago, is a few years ago, I went to see a speaker, right? And I was really looking forward to seeing him, and I was there for him. And I was at the front row, and I was waiting in the front row for him to come on. And just before he's about to come on, there was a break. And I really needed a wee. So I looked behind me and there's this big queue to the toilet. And being a speaker, I was like, wait a minute, I'm sure there's a toilet near the stage. So I looked around the corner and there's an exit, fire exit open. There was a toilet. I was like, yes, I'll go to that. So I snuck into that, which no one seemed to know about. Like a VIP toilet. Snuck into that. And then I did my thing standing there. And then next to me comes the speaker I'm waiting to see. And he stands next to me and does his thing. So obviously there's that awkwardness of doing your thing. And we didn't really speak. And then, of course, I finished. I turned around and I'm washing my hands. And then he turns around and he looks in the mirror, flicks his hair a little bit and walks out. I was completely, what? I was shocked. Absolutely shocked. I was like, he didn't wash his hands. That's disgusting. And he's going to go on stage and he's going to hold mics and he's going to hold mic and he's going to shake people's hands and he's going to high five people. Oh my God. And my whole experience changed, right? From that. Something really small had a massive impact. And it's the same when we're standing on stage, the content we use, the stories we tell, everything is going to have an impact. And you're always selling. From the moment you walk on stage, you're selling. Even if you're getting paid to speak, you're selling your thoughts, your leadership, your solution. Please understand and move away from, I just want to speak, I don't sell. You're selling. And the more you can understand that paradigm that you're always selling, actually, the easier this process become. You don't need to be a douche. You don't need to be horrible. You don't need to be pushy. You don't have to use scarcity, but you are always selling. And I just want you to be aware of that, okay? Yeah? How are we doing, people? We good? Yeah? Any thoughts, any questions, anything you want to ask me at this point? We've got a little bit of time. You can come on the mic if you want to. You can type in the chat. Do you have any questions at this point? Of anything I covered? You want me to go through something again? No, you're good. Lots of smiley faces. Okay, good. Whoops, I mean to do that. So, but you know, if you take everything I do and you go through your talks, obviously we want to work with you, want to support you. We can do this together, and I'd love to do that with you. You will see the changes. Now, would it be overnight? I can't promise that. Right, I really can't. But if you implement, you will see the changes that are there. You know, someone that, again, I saw significant change with is Janetta. Now, Janetta worked with me more as a mentoring, as well as doing all this. I mentored her and helped her build her business. Everything we talked about here had a massive impact for Janetta because she has a story that's quite short. You know, it's a tragedy, and I don't want to go into it right now. But for her, once we changed her positioning, the language, everything we talked about here, that's when she saw an uptake. That's when she launched World's Jenny's Day, which you can check out, which is in memory of her daughter. We changed the whole positioning around that. That's when she started to enroll clients and she started to win clients. So this has a bigger impact on your business, this work as well. So I just wanted everyone to know that as well. So what I'd love to know is, what are your biggest learnings from this? You can type them, or if you're quick as speakers, you can actually unmic yourself and share them. But what is your biggest learning from this session? I'd love to hear. Love it, but I'm still not clear on what I'm selling. Okay. Well, Sarah, let's talk. Let me help you get clear on that. You can just talk to me, you know, if you book a call in, and you won't get an invoice for that. So Sarah, book a call in with me. Let's have a conversation. You can grab the link from the Google Doc. Let's have a talk. You know, I help people get clarity on that. So is that what you've learned, that you're not sure what you're selling? Good. These are good things. Structure and logic. Hey, David. Yeah, exactly. Structure is so important. Oh my God, so many speakers just convey information. All of it. Yes, Catherine, I love that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Love the reorganized order of the talk. Yes, so important, so important. Yay. Key takeaway, always selling, always. Yeah, if you can understand that, then that will shift. Because if you think about it, when we're doing outreach, you're selling, right? When you're on the conversation to get your book, you're selling, right? Before coming on stage, you're selling because people have read your bio. Can you see all these things as sales, right? Once you're speaking, you're selling your thoughts, your leadership, your service, whatever it might be. Even if for anyone here that just wants to do keynotes, you still have to sell your keynote to be booked, right? So understand that. It doesn't mean, again, pushy, sleazy. That's not what I mean. But we are always selling. Good stuff here. Awesome sauce. I do free talks, just not clear. Okay. Yes, Sarah, let's talk. Okay. Agree with Sarah. Takeaways. I'm always selling. I am my brand. Brilliant. Oh my God. My work here is done. No, only joking. Lots more work to do with you guys. But yes, these are fantastic realizations. So I just want to quickly recap the program. If you have any questions, again, we'll put the link in there. Book a call in with me. You don't have to sign up today. Okay. There's no like, if you don't sign up, you'll never succeed. You know, it's not my style. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Some of those tactics. Nope. Let's have a call. Let's talk about it. If it's right for you, cool. It might not be that you're looking for. Let's have that call anyway and see. And if you just don't want to talk to me, that's fine. I know I can find you, right? I know where you live. No, I'm joking. Right. But yeah, so there we go. So just to remind you, after everything we've just been through, we will do that with you, help you rework your talk. We'll help you figure out what you're selling. We also help you market yourself so you can get those bookings, and then you get booked. And then there's the after support where we do every 2 weeks, a drop in Zoom. It's every Thursday, I think 1 to 2. I can't remember exactly, but it's definitely every other Thursday. So there's continuous support throughout this. This is for you, right? If you have something to say, you got confidence, you want to be an expert, you want to own your lane, we do that with you and we help you do that as well. Again, I'm putting skin in the game. You pay a little bit now and then you'll pay. There's nothing for 90 days, okay? Because I want to make sure you're implementing, you're doing. We'll do a one-to-one signature talk training. We go through the structure I gave you. The second step we do is we identify where to speak to go get booked, and then we help you get booked and deliver the talk. That's where the continuous momentum comes in. So again, you got something to say, you want more bookings, you want more sales, right? You want to be the go-to expert? That's us, right? We want to support you with that. And there's all kinds of bonuses as well. But, if you're currently not sure, let's talk. That's what I'm saying. Book in a call. Let's have a conversation. I'd love to talk to you anyway. You're here now. Let's do this, right? So we do a structure that converts. We help you get booked. You got the support. Also, there's a WhatsApp group, which I forgot, where people ask questions and updates, and then you pay a little upfront and the rest on results or nothing for 90 days, right? So that's how it works. Any questions about that at all? Anything you want to ask about the program? Well, if you don't ask in a public forum, just grab a slot. Let's talk. Hey, Jesse,
Hi.
nice to see you.
Hey, hi,
How you
Elliot.
doing?
Yes, well, thank you for the webinar. This is actually a question. I'm just going to sort of roll back because I think I'm maybe making an assumption in understanding what I believe a signature talk is.
Uh-huh.
Can you just expand on that, please?
Yeah, of course. So a signature talk. So this is the way I teach it. Okay. So this is how I differentiate. A signature talk focuses on what people need to know. What is the gap that they have in their life, right? And then therefore, when it comes to the call to action, they would book you to help them solve it. A keynote in, again, how we teach or differentiate it is when you get paid to give away the how. Does that make sense? So that's how we, again, other trainers will teach it differently. Keynote, you get paid, you talk about the how, that's why you're getting the 5,000, the 10,000 pounds, right? Yeah. And then a signature talk is, again, for those low paid or no paid, where then you can upsell them into something, even a consultation. But the focus of your content is in what people need to know, the gap that they have, and you're magnifying that in a signature talk. Hence, this program is about efficient speaking and selling versus keynote delivery, because we show you how to do that. So when you next get on stage and maybe promoting one of your mental health things or something like that, which you do when I looked at when conversation through LinkedIn, then they go, oh yeah, I want to work with Jesse because he has the solution for my problem. And your talk showed that. Does that help? You're on mute. We can't hear you. Do you know that? You're on mute.
Classic schoolboy mistake. So that reminds me of that separation you said earlier, between the what and the how. So your signature talk is the what.
Yes.
Solving the pain points, solving the problems.
Exactly.
As opposed to a keynote being the how. Okay.
Yeah, and
no, that totally makes sense.
I'm right. As a speaker, you almost want to, right? Because you'll go, oh, you're very welcome. We'll see you soon. Bye. Because you'll get people going, listen, Jesse, I really want to work with you. We don't have the budget. You're like, okay, cool. I can do you. In your mind, you go, fine, I'll do my signature talk, right? Because there's an element. And of course, you'll clarify, can I sell? Can I promote? You'll have all those questions, yeah? And then someone might go, Jesse, we'd love to book you as a speaker. Here's the budget. And you go, cool. Then you do your keynote. So will there be crossovers? Yes. But the last thing you want to do is do your keynote for free, and then someone finds out they've paid you for it, versus a slightly different talk, which has different outcomes. Because a keynote you wouldn't sell because you're getting paid not to sell. That's why they're paying you.
Sure.
Does that help?
Yeah, totally. Thank you. Thanks.
Perfect. Lovely questions. Any other questions, people? Okay, well, I'll hang back anyway a little bit to see if anyone has any questions. That is the end. I would love to have a conversation with you all if you choose to want to have a conversation. If not, I hope you've been served, that you've got some ideas, enough to go away, get your teeth into. We always come from adding value up front first, and I hope we have done that. And in the meantime, what you need to do is go out there, be seen, be heard, and always use your voice for good. Okay. And always be more giraffe. So till the next time, people, I will see you very soon. You're very welcome, Jesse. And hopefully I'll be talking to you soon as well. So grab a slot and then we'll have a conversation. But I will see you very soon. As I said, I'm happy to hang back if anyone just wants to talk to me. I'll stop all recordings and everything and we can have a conversation. But thank you for being here. Go out there and be more giraffe, people. Till the next time. Bye, Gillian.
Elliot.